Good morning. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another early morning chat. it's 11 o'clock. Well, 11's is fine. So, hope you've all had a lovely weekend. I was going to try and do this landscape today. It doesn't seem to have an option for that. When I rotate the camera, it just says, I'll just rotate it back again. Rotate device back. So the stream doesn't know how to change. The stream is like locked to vertical orientation because it's on my phone. Anyway, let's do some print harvesting, shall we? These have all been done since like Friday evening because I didn't really have any long prints to do. So just some short little ones that we can check. Good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. I do quite like doing these things. The thing is, I have a lot to talk about. I just don't want to spoil things before they're like actually ready. Not too much, anyway. But I think it's quite a nice opportunity to share things that otherwise may not even see the light of day. So, I'm just going to do it in the same order that I have done up to now. Guess what we've printed in here? For those that have joined the last 4 live streams. Well, no, the first 2 were not. First 3 were not. Anyway, we've done a couple. Guess what we're printing in here? It's the same as always. I've got quite a few bases now. If I take you over here, you can see this whole stack. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 ready to go. So there's probably like a lot of other parts now I need to catch up on. Although there's been quite a few orders over the weekend, so I'll have to ship those out. That might change the situation a bit. Good, yeah, good lunchtime. Nah. Ta-da! Harvesting prints with one hand is like not always the easiest thing to do. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. I always remember that from when Stephen Fry did QI. Well, there's a reference, though. It was always, good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening. I can't really do Stephen Fry's voice, but you know what I mean. These are beautifully consistent. Lovely jubbly. I'll put that as number 8 on the pile. Just ordered a bunch of new stock for the VLMP2 kits as well. Now that we're doing printed parts, I figured it's sensible to get some new hardware kits. We don't have the next generation design set stuff. It's not going to be ready for quite a while, so I don't want to run out of kits in the meantime. It always feels weird when you're already designing the next product to be selling the current one, but then obviously that's what like literally every company does. It just feels weird being on the other side of that, I guess. Yeah, this bed really wants to print something else. It doesn't like when you print the same thing in the same place again and again and again and again. The print surface is just not happy. Got your lightweight stealth burner assembly going. And let the rainbow bath rainbows. Nice. I think I already mentioned, didn't I, in one of these catch-ups last week, I'm going to be working on my Voron upgrades. I don't think any of these are Voron parts. I was printing them all and because obviously like what we look at this morning is generally like the Bambu stuff because those are sort of my print farm printers. They're just mostly easy to use, very consistent, and they have the multi-material capability. Whereas for doing the Voron, I was like, let's print it on open source printers. So I was like, oh, I guess one is not really open source anymore. DIY printers. So I was like, let's print it all on the Prusa. They'd sent me some filaments with the last, after I did the teardown, they sent me a kit with some filaments, which was very nice of them. But only like one roll of black ASA, and obviously that doesn't really go very far when you're printing strong parts for your Voron. And now getting more of that is not necessarily easy or cost effective. There's like one company in the UK that seems to be a reseller, but they've got no stock. And I tried emailing them to what the situation is and heard nothing. So that's not the best. And then to buy them directly from Prusa is like 30, what is it? I don't want to badly quote them, but it's the pricing per kilo plus the shipping. It just feels really expensive per kilo to get some. So I need to find some other filaments that work well with the Prusa Core 1, because unfortunately the accessibility for Prusa in the UK is just not super great. Thing is, as we've gotten to this stage of printers being like really reliable and consistent, I really can't be bothered with printer profiles anymore. And that's sort of been my situation for a while. I don't really enjoy tuning printers that much. I really enjoy building with them, and I like designing products that utilize them. But creating perfect print profiles for printers is like my least favorite ever thing to do. Have I tried 3D-QF? I have some of their filament. I really just don't like their spools. It's really unfortunate. I know their cardboard and recyclability and stuff is good, but the ones that I've had, they're so bendy and flexible. They're just, yeah. Yeah, it's just not ideal situation. Maybe I'll give 3D-QF another go. I think I've got some of that ABS just over there, but again, I don't know what the print profile situation is. I'm quite fussy, but also quite lazy when it comes to print profile. I really want ones that just print good. The Prusa ASA has printed really nicely. Obviously, they've tuned their stuff to be like really well dialed in. So I'd like to continue that, but also don't want to pay for it. So it's me being a bit silly, really. I should just probably pay for the proper stuff, but I guess I've been a bit spoiled by the stupidly cheap bamboo material, which you buy in even marginal amounts of bulk is like £11 per kilo. It's disgustingly cheap, honestly, but it does work. I've been spoiled, really. Okay, thank you. Again, happy to choose other things as long as their supply is consistent, the materials are decent quality, their pricing is reasonable, and they have good print profiles. Just everything being perfect. I'm so fussy. Right. The next printers. Let's move on to other printers. So we've got two more over here. I can't remember what they're printing. I couldn't see this one. This is more of the base screws. So just little kind of threaded parts. This corner one always attaches to the which is not ideal. Just little threaded parts. They hold the counterweights into the base on the VLMP2 base. One of the things that I'm working on as one of the improvements for the next iteration is greater versatility with the counterweights. Now, I know different places need different sizes. Places do, like US is all imperial mostly. And because they're like extra large washer sizes, they don't really fall under a consistent standard. So even different shops throughout the places will have different sizes. So just trying to have greater range of availability in the size of washer that you need, and also not having it need to be a washer, so it can just be like a cylinder, doesn't need the hole down the middle. So again, just trying to broaden options and have greater availability, because shipping washers around the world, which are very, very cheap to make and yet very expensive to ship because of their weight, is not really practical. How many people are here? 18 people watching me drink coffee and harvest printers. Very fun. Oh, and chat about new things which we can't talk about. That's sell those. We actually need 3 per printer, so you can work it out. There's a bunch there. Those will last a little while, that whole set. Those, and then that box is overflowing there, so that will last a good little while, I imagine. We don't ever sell like loads of these because a lot of the market that we're selling to has 3D printers and will print their own parts. But there are people from time to time that either they're like little businesses that just want the whole kit, or people want it printed out of ABS but don't have ABS capable printers and stuff like that. Aha! Yes, so we can talk a little bit about this project. It's very much in development, non-existent. I'm quite intent on it becoming a thing. I don't know how popular it will be. Hopefully very popular. Let's talk about it. So, what we have here is something I actually showed before as well, but this is the next version. It's an enclosure, which on itself, hello Jose. In itself is not a big deal. You see the logo here. Exciting. So the idea, that printed the wrong way out, sort of. The idea is it's a DIY amp and DAC with the digital components pre-soldered, and then the through-hole components you can do yourself. I may provide kits as well, but the point of it is kind of an educational platform, like learning to solder, learning about the components, learning how to assemble, and then learning a bit about the design process and manufacture process and why things are laid out, maybe the way they are, a bit about component choice and all that sort of stuff. So I'm creating a kind of sub-brand of Vector 3D called, should I share it now? Yeah, why not? It may change a little bit. I'm not, yeah. So the idea, I think it's going to be Ohm Made Academy. So Ohm as in homemade, but spelt OHM as in resistance. And the sub-brand is all about kind of educational DIY electronics. So yes, this is a closure for our first product. I don't know how many products will end up being in this range, but this is a printed version of the enclosure. The plan is to do different types of enclosures, so depending on what you want. You can have different levels of enclosure. We do like a printed one. I want to do a CNC one, so we have like a real primo option. So yeah, be fully CNC'd aluminium with like a nice black anodize and maybe some highlighting in the logo. So this is our logo for that sub-brand. As you can see, sort of like a resistor. I think it's really nice. So yeah, that's the idea. We have a product. We have version 1 working, but it's just prototype 1. So it's like Heathkit project process. Yeah, maybe something like that. Yeah, so it's still very much like prototype at the moment. It will be months and months probably before you see this as anything real. But yeah, I learned a lot of electronics through building stuff myself. So I wanted to create a product that sort of reflected that. And this is that. I'm very excited for it, and you should be too. Even if it's not necessarily applicable to you directly, hopefully you'll know someone that could use it. The idea as well is not to have a kind of patronizing level of education. It's not like, this is a resistor, and it resists things. I want to build it in such a way that you can have The instructions will be sort of modular. So if you want the full set, as in maybe you're like, I don't know, what would be the best way? So maybe you're a young child, not obviously like 6, because that's probably not sensible for soldering, but whatever age you might start soldering, I don't know, like teenage years, you probably don't want the highest level of detail in like how things are done, because you just want the kind of exciting parts of it at that age. So it'll be simple explanations of what the things are and how to assemble it, and you kind of get the excitement and enjoyment from doing that. But then there'll be more like advanced explanations of like PCB layout and stuff like that for people that want that, and we kind of try and modularize that. Ah, Jimmy, yes. Varnamo. Who's from Varnamo? Who's Varnamo here? I still can't pronounce it properly. Wasn't it like Venimo? Venimo. So that's those two. And then the third thing, we did have some. Ah, yes. Hello. The SLS guy. So down in the Prusa, I printed some more of these ElectroPie mounts. I showed these last week. These are for adapting that DIY buck converter to a Pi. Now, I did upload a version last week because it was sort of mostly good enough for people that like needed it straight away. I didn't think that was a particularly urgent thing. I made some very small refinements, just made it slightly narrower so it's not so close to component. And yeah. Ooh. My initial idea was just to have them as the STL that you can download, but I was like, why don't I just print a bunch and sell them too? So we can have like a cheap option for people that don't have that availability to print things. So yes, I meant to print these in black actually, because generally people would want stuff in black, but we've got a bunch in blue. I'll test that the shape is all fine and dandy. It becomes a little bit flexible, but like by the time you've got screws and stuff and you're clamping through this, it's going to be absolutely fine. So that is that. Let me show you. We did this is some of the results of the printing from last week. A sort of mock-up of the next VLMP, or one of the VLMP styles. So a slightly different method for holding the washers. So instead of having like the screw and stuff, you have this like plastic thread and the washers go in here, and then you just thread this plastic thing on the top, and that just clamps it down, so it holds it in, and you don't have to have extra fixings. You also don't need the central screw, which means we have fewer parts we have to supply. It also means you can have any size things in here, and as long as you can clamp it down to that, then it's going to be fine. So yeah, that's that bit. Added a handle to the top. Obviously, I should make this apparent, this is not final design. This is me testing basic ideas, and they look horrible, but they'll sort of functionally work. So yeah, it's just sort of a handle. Is that a nice way to do it? Is it the right place? Do you need gap? Do you need to be able to do this? Do you need access to the buttons and all this kind of stuff? At the moment, I've not really tested it yet. I've just assembled it. So I'm going to take it home and use it for a different project for a bit. And the other thing I'm trying out, can't really see here, it's not really final yet. So the normal way to do it, of which I've done it previously, is for the belt to go up here, over this bearing, across the top, and down the other side. That makes sense. The bearings just allow the belt to go over the top. But one of the things I personally dislike a bit about the high quality linear rails is because they're so smooth, there's no damping. So the weight just it just continues to accelerate in the whole motion. So what I want to do is have it so the belt dips under this part in the middle, and we have like a brass collar here, and that just provides a little bit of friction to the belt to slow the whole thing down a little bit. It does mean you have to have a tiny little bit more weight, but it just means the whole thing kind of moves a bit more elegantly rather than just like. Does it matter a lot in terms of the basic functionality? No, it will be basically exactly the same, but it'll just feel nicer. It'll look a bit nicer and sound a bit nicer. So I don't know if that idea is going to work out as I hope, but yeah, that little bit of damping overall will be nicer. I'd added a bigger handle to the top. People didn't like the little handle. I was like, it barely weighs like a couple of kilos, so you barely need, you don't need big handle, but people wanted bigger handle, so bigger handle too. So yeah, just testing that size. Yeah, well, I'm going to keep printing and testing different variety of things, and we'll have a lot more to expand in VLMP, and I'll be hopefully having some help with that. Yes, that's where that got to. I'm probably missing some of these comments, but there you go. Soz. And then we had a delivery last week as well. So as part of my, I think my address is pretty public anyway. We had a delivery of a panel and some stuff. One of the upgrades I want to do for the next Voron thing is the clicky clack door. So this was a little delivery from Viperworks, which is a company in the UK. It's part of the, well, they're not like a Voron supplier, but like, excuse me, they have like a vendors channel in the Voron Discord. So you can access that in there. I did pay for that, I wasn't sponsored or anything. So yes, I think that's probably all we need to cover for now. I've got a bunch of parts now coming today for fasteners, so I can carry on with my Electropie kits. We did quite a few last week, but there's a lot more to do, so lots of progress still to be made. Where am I from? I'm from the UK. Well, I was born in Tokyo, but I live, and I'm British. I live in the UK. I'm British. My family is from here. I just happen to be born over there. So I think that's probably all I've got to share with you this morning. Just a little catch up. That sounds like Japanese, but I do not know any Japanese. Apologies. I was literally there until about the age of 2. I don't really remember or recognize anything. My family were entirely very British about it and generally didn't learn much of the language. My sister went to a Japanese school for a few years, but again, I don't think much beyond counting was really accessible at that age. This is what I do for a living. I do YouTube. I design things, I print things, I make things, I do videos. This is the whole lot. Thanks everyone for joining in. I've got to go and get on with some actual work. And I'll catch you all tomorrow for another quick morning update. Enjoy your coffee, and I'll speak to you tomorrow.